Routers, switches, and hubs have been important to networking and the allowance of the transfer of data. Today I will be discussing the functionality of these devices and their usage within networks. A router is used to connect many devices together to the internet and connect these devices to each other to create a local network. This allows users in the network to send files over the network, to print documents, or use other software to share files. The router can protect your data from security threats, send data over the network, and decide which devices get priority over others. Routers allow packets to be sent wirelessly and wired to the user. Routers use routing to transfer packets efficiently and effectively. This is by using IPs to forward packets from one network to another while managing the traffic of these networks. The router also creates routing tables by using metric values to find the lowest metric value when sending packets from one network to another. After packets are sent, these metric values are stored in routing tables. A switch connects via Ethernet to the router to extend the local area network and send packets to other devices within the network. A switch can send data to another switch, router, or a computer using LAN cables. The difference between a router and a switch is that a router is needed to send data from one network to another, while a switch cannot, and routes packets with the local area network needing to be connected to a router to do this. Usually, large commercial buildings or offices use switches to extend their connection throughout the building, due to switches having more Ethernet ports than a router and allowing a reliable connection throughout the building, which is known as an unmanaged switch. While a managed switch does the same, but it allows the admins to have control over traffic priority and set up virtual LANs called VLANs. Instead of using IP addresses like routers to route packets to the correct devices, switches use the MAC address of the device to route the packets to the correct device. The MAC addresses are stored on the switch in a content addressable memory table known as a CAM, where it knows which device it must go to. But if the switch hasn't been used before or rebooted, it has to table the MAC addresses again by doing an action called flooding, where it sends packets to all the devices on the switch to learn which port holds which MAC address, where it completes its content addressable memory table. A hub is like a switch where it extends a network and allows more devices to connect to each other, but is becoming outdated due to how they work. Instead of using a routing table or a content addressable memory table like a router or a switch repeats the packets to all the devices connected to find which device made the request. If two devices send a request at the same time, a collision will occur. Due to how hubs work, anyone sniffing the network can get these packets, making hubs really unsecure. Due to them sending packets to every device connected within the network, the reason switches are replacing hubs is due to the security flaw of the hubs and the increased bandwidth switches provide due to their content addressable memory tables.